Hey, yo, what's the deal? Miss your boy Tag from Pro Wrestling Tag, you know what I mean? As of this recording, it is 6:06 p.m., February 2nd, 2026. Now, I mean, this is the first and last video of the night. Now, I mean, this video is going up at about 11:30. You know what I'm saying? And I want to talk about something very interesting because, you know, last night I made a video about Chris Jericho. And you know, about his contract dates and such, and, you know, what's really, really, really going on between him and AEW. Right? So, we finally know that Chris Jericho is not a free agent. You know, that he still has some time left on his deal. Right? And, you know, I said how people should blame John Alba, you know, for being the one to, you know, given that false narrative that Chris Jericho's contract was actually going to be up at the end of 2025, right? But then Sean Ross Sapp came out and said that Jericho still has some time left on his deal, right? But here's the tricky part, right? They don't know if there's some more time added or the contract is frozen. Which to me, I think this is all bullshit because I do think that Tony Khan probably added some extra time on. I think he added extra time and froze the fucking deal. You know what I mean? My gut feeling is always right. And what my gut tells me that Jericho wants out of AEW. Jericho, he's done. He is done with All Elite Wrestling. Mind you, also, you know, he also said that, you know, that there hasn't really been any discussion about Jericho lately at all. At all. They're not going to use Chris Jericho. He's not going to be used. Let's keep it a stack, okay? But the fact that Tony Khan kayfabes the number in terms of the expiration, in terms of the expiration date, I think it's kind of silly. You know what I mean? It's really silly because why would you go out and kayfabe the number or the date of someone's contract being expired, right? So basically, I'm assuming that he told some people to put that out there, or he probably gave that number out there to say that, you know, well, this person's contract is going to expire on this day, right? It's going to expire on this day and such, you know, so just so that people could create a frenzy and, you know, have people talking and such while this shit really going on behind the scenes, right? I think it's a dangerous game because he also did he did this for a couple of people too, where, you know, he kayfabes the numbers. He kayfabes the numbers of dates, you know, for someone's contract and shit like that. Now, I don't know when Chris Jericho's real contract expire. I don't know the real number and the date of when his deal was done. But I think that's a dangerous game to play. I think that is a very, very, very dangerous game to play because I do think that this is Tony Khan trying to keep, you know, talent from jumping ship. You can't stop people from jumping ship. You can't. You know, and I'm seeing people in the comment section saying, "Oh man, you know, maybe Jericho isn't really going anywhere and stuff and blah 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 blah." Don't you think if he was resigning with AEW, don't you think there was a press release? Don't you think that there would be something there? And then also, on top of that, you know, don't you fucking think that, I don't know, he be used on AEW television? Don't you think? He's not coming back to AEW television. He's not. You will never, ever see Chris Jericho in AEW ever again. Just like how you'll never see Britt Baker in AEW TV ever again. Just like how you'll never see Danhausen and Private Party on AEW television ever the fuck again. The fact that this dude is kayfabing the number is crazy when you think about it. It's crazy. And here's the other thing too. Okay? Here's the other thing. How the fuck do we know what's going on with WWE contracts, right? You know, but we don't know about, you know, the AEW contracts and shit. Don't you realize that, you know, Dave Meltzer said, oh, well, you know, AEW offered Powerhouse Hobbs and a substantial deal and stuff, right? Oh man, like they gave him more money on to sign back. How do we know what on the WWE part? But when it comes down to the AEW part, we don't know shit. We don't know shit. I like I said, I honestly think that all this is being put out there because it's all kayfabe. Like the numbers is all kayfabe and shit like that. I do think that this is also a way to distract what's really going on in AEW in terms of the reality of it all. And to me, the reality of it all is Jericho is done. He's done with AEW. He's done. Because again, don't you think they would have brought him back a long time ago? Mind you, this motherfucker hasn't been on TV in about fucking 10 months. In 10 months. The last time he was on AEW television was April of last year. April. You know what I mean? And also, like I said, Jericho has distanced himself completely away from AEW. Completely. So I do think that there are major issues with Chris Jericho and Tony Khan. Obviously. And, Tony Khan probably, and that's what I think too. As I'm talking more about it, I do think that, yes, Tony Khan probably added some more time onto Chris Jericho's deal. The times missed, right? I do think that, he's not going to use Jericho. I'm sorry. He is not using Chris Jericho. Like I said, because again, don't you fucking think that he would have been on TV a very, very, very long time ago? Don't you think? Don't you fucking think? Imagine other people. Imagine other people there, right? Who stuck in Guantanamo Bay. I mean, you got to think, B. You got to think. This is the type of shit that Tony Khan does. Like I said before, Chris Jericho probably told him, I'm done. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to be here. I'm finished. I gave you all my services. And Tony Khan got mad. He's like, fuck it. I'm not going to let you go. What I'm going to do is I'm going to add more time onto your deal. You want to go back to WWE? Yeah. I'll make you go back. Yeah, you'll go back. But, until then, I'm still going to get some time from, off your fucking contract. That's what happened. Now, do I think Chris Jericho, is going to leave AEW this year? Yes. I strongly do think so. The date, though, I don't know. I don't fucking know. I personally don't know. I don't know. Because think about this. Let's say if Chris Jericho goes back to AEW, right? Let's just say, which is now highly, highly, highly unlikely, right? The same shit is going to happen. The same shit is going to happen that happened before. He's going to get booed. They've already turned their back on Chris Jericho. The AEW sickos already turned their back on him. So why the fuck is he going to go back to a place where they basically just, they shitted on him? Why? It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make any fucking sense. It does not make any sense. Like I said, I'm going to say this again, okay? Chris Jericho is done with AEW. He is now in the same boat that Britt Baker's in and Danhausen. It's a shit. You know, if he hasn't been heard from, backstage in a long time, that tells you something. I don't know about y'all, but that fucking tells you something. Anyway, guys, I'm about to be out. You know what I mean? I'm going to definitely holler at y'all tomorrow. So hopefully there's some news. Peace.